Hello and welcome to the Punting Green, the show brought to you by Priced Up Bet and oddschecker as we look ahead to the PGA Tour event coming this weekend. This weekend we've got the FEDEX St Jude Championship, the first leg of the playoffs. Always a good event with a very good field. No Rory McIlroy this weekend, Joe, but still a good field indeed.
Yeah, really good tournament this week, George. Only 70 go to post, but we do have a star-studded lineup, if you like. Of course, it's headed by Scotty Scheffler this week, George. And to be honest, this is Scotty Scheffler's playground. This is where he should be, where his attributes basically should come to the front. He's going to be very, very hard to beat if he turns up like we expect him to generally. So I've got a small squad this week, but it is compact, and I'm pretty sweet on my first selection. But either way, this will be a really good tournament, and hopefully we can find the winner.
Right, and before we get into that, I've got a really exciting giveaway thanks to PricedUp.bet, who have 4 tickets to give away for the BMW Championship at Wentworth on Friday the 12th of September. Looks to be an absolutely brilliant field. I think if you're looking forward to the Ryder Cup at the end of September, a lot of Team Europe will certainly be turning up for that one. It's on the Friday in Wentworth, so just west of London. All you need to do if you want to have a chance of winning the 4 tickets is subscribe to the oddschecker YouTube channel, follow at PricedUpBet on X or Twitter, and then comment on the YouTube below the video with your handle. So if you follow PricedUpBet at PricedUpBet on Twitter or X, subscribe to the oddschecker YouTube channel, and then you comment on the YouTube video, so beneath the YouTube video, crucially, not on social media, with your Twitter handle, then you are in with a chance of winning those 4 tickets. I've been there a few times. It's a brilliant event to go to.
Yes.
It's a class field and a visually an amazing course. I
go to this one every year, George. This is absolutely worth getting involved in. If you get yourself some tickets to go Wentworth, it's you can't beat it, can you? It's one of the best weeks of the year. So yeah, let everyone do get involved. That's well worth a play.
And Rory McIlroy with a very good record, of course, although I couldn't see off Billy Horschel in that playoff last time.
No, brilliant.
It was very good, yeah, it was good. Right, let's get into this week's event, though, because, of course, we'll be previewing Wentworth in the future. We have TPC Southwind is the course here, which is a course that most PGA Tour fans will be familiar with because there's been an event here, I think, since the 80s. Yes. What kind of a test is this for these players?
Yeah, really good test, actually, George, to be honest, this week. Like you said, the FEDEX St Jude Championship, TPC Southwind, 7,244 yard par 70. And this generally ranks every season within the top 10 or 15 toughest golf courses on tour. These are the sort of golf courses that I enjoy finding my selections on, where you've got to put a bit of thought process into the selections. You've got Zoysia fairways, but you have Bermuda grass greens, and they're very small this week as well, the greens. There are also 94 bunkers across TPC Southwind and 10 water hazards, and all 10 do come into play, so it's not like they're just sort of sporadically placed. It's a really well-balanced golf course. Some significant sort of holes possibly to mention, just to give you a bit of a contrast to what this golf course is like. Hole number 11 is a par 3 over 157 yards. So you've got a 9-iron into this sort of hole, got an island green. It's very similar to TPC Sawgrass. You've got the sort of that front bunker there for any short shots, but it's basically an island green with water for 157 yards. 3 holes later, though, we have a 239-yard par 3 where you're going to be hitting a very long iron, or more than likely going to be hitting a hybrid where you've got water on the right. And then you go to hole 18, you've got a dogleg left par 4 over 453 yards, water all the way down the left-hand side, and you'll probably see a lot of players either hitting a hybrid or a 3-wood just to get the position rather than trying to take on too much of the water. A really, really good golf course this week. Massive bias for faders as well. If you go and take a look at the history here, a huge bias to players that are hitting the left to right ball shot. If you want some attributes to follow to find your golfers this week, you have to be an elite ball striker. Really, really important around this course. You have to be a specialist with your irons. And I'd like a player that's going to be quite calm under pressure, because when you're coming into a final round at this sort of golf course, and you've got water staring at you in the face everywhere, you need to be able to remain calm, cool and collective. And I'm very happy with my 3-man squad this week, George.
Great stuff. Let's run through the market then with Priced Up, who are paying a quarter to 5 as their each way terms. And no surprise, the Open champion from a couple of weeks ago, the US PGA champion from a few weeks ago, looking to continue his unbelievable form. The best golfer in the world and the best golfer for some time. Scotty Scheffler is the 3-1 favourite. Xander Schauffele is the 16-1 second favourite. Justin Thomas, who's had success here in the past, is 22-1. Tommy Fleetwood 25-1. Matt Fitzpatrick returning to good form at 28-1. Russell Henley 28-1. Victor Hovland 28-1. Colin Morikawa 30-1. Ludwig Oberg 30-1. Patrick Cantlay 30-1. Cameron Young 35-1. Corey Connors 35-1. So that's the top end of the market there, Joe. None from there, am I right?
None from the top this week, no. Very close to putting up Keegan Bradley again, actually, this week, but he let us down quite heavily last week, so I've let him go. Hovland, this is a course that suits him perfectly, but he hasn't quite been there, has he? So leaving him out. Ludwig Aberg, again, real good course fit. Probably not in the best form at the moment. Colin Morikawa's becoming interesting, George. He can't putt, as we know. Or, well, he can putt, but it seems to be...
at the moment, yeah.
Yeah. Seems to be his Achilles heel, but he's up to about 30-1 this week. He is becoming quite dangerous at that price. But at the same time, if you're going to back Colin Morikawa chasing the price and he lets it down, you're just going to feel silly at the end of it as well.
Yeah.
Interesting that obviously Cam Young won last week. Could Fleetwood come and break his hoodoo as well the week after? Because it seems like he's the only man in that PGA Tour club now without a win, it feels like. So look, there's a lot of question marks about these at the top of the market. As I've said, George, quite honest and quite straight up, this for me is where Scotty Scheffler should take the world of beating, but I can't go back in a golfer at 3-1. If there's any possibility somewhere with the without market potentially with priced up, that may be somewhere to go, George.
Yeah, so priced up don't have a whole market for the without this weekend, but what we have done is we've spoken to them, we've sent over your squad, and they have priced up each player in your squad as a price boost on the price boost page, so you can find them there. So we'll go through those as we get to them. But let's kick off with your main selection, your headline of your three-man squad, and that's Wyndham Clark, who's 50-1.
Yeah, very bullish on him actually this week, George, to be honest. World number 26, 50-1 just seems far too big a price for a player that I think suits this course better than anyone in the entire field, bar Scotty Scheffler. He's a three-time PGA Tour winner, George, and it's been interesting with Wyndham Clark. He seems to be the player that I just tend to catch at the right time. I've backed him 3 times now, Wyndham Clark, and I backed him for all 3 of his PGA Tour wins. He won the Wells Fargo
Wow.
last year at 66-1, either in 2023. Sorry, in the same year he won the US Open 80-1, and me and my followers were on. And then last year at the AT&T Pebble Beach, when they had the 3-round tournament because it finished early, he also won that at 50-1. So I've had him at 50-1, 66-1, and 80-1. I've had a pretty decent punt on him this week as well, and I think the 50-1 is way too big. His shot shape, George, is absolutely imperative around here. He only hits it one way. If he needs to hit a draw, it's not in his locker. He hits a fade regardless. This is how he managed to win the US Open. And what is interesting about Wyndham Clark, the deeper he goes into the tournament, the higher up that leaderboard he gets, the harder he actually hits the ball. Now, it's interesting with him, because he only hits it one way, he hits his left to right shot, the more confident he gets, the harder he hits the ball. He's just hitting this bigger fade, but it has actually meant that he's become really consistent, and that is again what's enabled him to win the Wells Fargo, the US Open, and the AT&T Pebble Beach. He knows what shot shape he's hitting. He doesn't try and do anything different. He sticks to his game plan, and when he's striking the ball well, that is when it all comes together. If you don't strike the ball well, you're not hitting a consistent shot shape and you're missing fairways and missing greens. But he is now starting to come into really good form. He missed the Rocket Classic. He missed the cut of the Rocket Classic. But since then, he finished tied 11th at the Scottish Open. Built on that by finishing tied 4th in the Open, which would have been a real big confidence booster for him because his game hadn't quite been there. And then to back it up, last week he then finished tied, the week before last, he then finished tied 12th at the 3M Open. It's a massive, massive improvement in his game. Confidence must be really high. And whilst this course suits his game very, very much, I think he is the one that you have to be on side with this week. You can back players at half his price that are hitting draws, not in much form, really struggling with the putter. Wyndham Clark is absolutely trending in the right direction. If he does not make the places this week, I will be devastated, George. I really fancy him this week.
Ooh, 50-1 there for Joe. A strong selection I think I've heard he put up on the show in the past. And boosted to 45 to 1 win only, of course, in the without Scheffler market as well. So if you want to play that, maybe have a half your stake each way in the outright market and half your stake, the price boost there 45 to 1. Two more in the three-man squad, Joe. Who are the other? Who's next up on the list?
Yep, two to go. Pretty strong additions, I feel, to the squad. Like I said, and you mentioned there, George, you are right, because I will announce that my points on oddschecker this week for Wyndham Clark is a max bet. The first one that I've done all season. Usually I've had a few more by now. However, yeah, really confident on Wyndham Clark. But I've got two players that I want to add with Wyndham. I think they're really sort of strong additions to the team. So they're not necessarily the most likely winners, but I think these two players will play their game and they'll give us a real good chance of finding the money come Sunday, provided Wyndham Clark's there as well, which is obviously our main hope. But Aaron Rai is up next, George. You might want to give me the price there. I'm not totally sure what he is.
40 to 1.
40 to 1, good. Good course management player, Aaron Rai. I like the fact that he just sort of plays within his game. He's not very long off the tee, but he's certainly very accurate. He's the second most accurate player off the tee this year. He is a winner on the PGA Tour as well, which does help. He won the Wyndham Championship last year, and then obviously came into it from last week, finishing tied fifth as well. So his game's in pretty good shape. What I like about players for this golf course, I want players that find fairways and I want players that find greens. If you miss the fairway here, you're generally losing half a shot per hole every time you miss the fairway at TPC Southwood. So accuracy is really, really important. Now, like I said, Aaron Rai is very accurate off the tee. He's not the most accurate with his irons, but he's got a really high green in regulation percentage, and that's all I want. Find your fairway, find your green, and if you make putts, you're going to be competitive this week. So I just think he's a little bit overpriced at 40 to 1. He's a real sort of solid addition to the squad. Like I said, my main hope is without a doubt Wyndham Clark, but I'm really happy to go in with him and have Aaron Rai there as well as sort of like the solid player. I can't see him shooting 5-6 over par this week. I'd be disappointed if he wasn't, double figures under par, which should have you competitive at this golf course.
Yeah, absolutely. He's really, really solid. Just never seems to miss a fairway. Never seems to be far away from the green, and that is normally a recipe for success. He's 40 to 1 with priced up. He's 30 to 1 in that boosted without market as well. So a couple of ways to get Aaron Rai on side. And then one of the big price, a favourite of yours, who's already got two PGA Tour wins this season, but is still available to back for this one at 110 to 1.
Yeah, one of my favourite players, to be honest, George, just Ryan Fox. Again, we have put him up quite a few times this year. Thankfully, he did win the Canadian Open for us, obviously at 66 to 1. But like you said, he's also won the Myrtle Beach this year as well. But he's just a prolific winner in sort of big events. Now, I say big events because this week isn't necessarily a big event as such, but it's a real tough golf course. And it's very similar to the likes of the BMW, like the PGA Championship, which you won. Very similar to the Ras Al Khaimah, which you won. It's a real ball striker's golf course. He's very good off the tee. Similar to Aaron Rai, he plays his game from tee to green, doesn't seem to get phased by anyone else, or he just plays his own game. Very, very accurate as well from tee to green, which is obviously welcome this week. He's like Aaron Rai in the sense that I expect him from tee to green to be really solid, and that should enable you to score well. Where I've mentioned a few players at the top of the market that aren't hitting their irons very well at all, and that's obviously showing in their scoring. They're not being able to shoot very low scores. So, look, like I said, George, Wyndham Clark is the number one, but Aaron Rai and Ryan Fox, in addition to him, I think make up a really good team this week. Wyndham Clark's our flashy player, scores well. Aaron Rai and Ryan Fox are our tee to green players that should be in the mix come Sunday, providing they bring their usual game to the front.
Great stuff. And I think 110 to 1 there for Ryan Fox. Big price. And I think the same price. I think maybe the same price for the without market as well. So one to get on there, win only. Any more in the sub markets for you, Joe, this weekend?
Yeah, two small ones this weekend for the side bets. Again, I use this top 10 market to perhaps find players that look a little bit overpriced, or possibly players that didn't quite make my squad. And I didn't want a 4 or 5 man squad this week, George. We had a bit of a bad week last week with my 4 players. I think it was right to sort of narrow that down. Also, on my oddschecker column, we've actually reached over 100 points for the year now, which is slower than I'm used to be honest. But it's just a reminder for those that follow us here, obviously on the Punting Green. Do come over and follow us there too, because there's plenty of other winners. It's just been a little bit unfortunate that they've predominantly been on Live and DP World Tour this year. Okay, saying that, we have had Harman at 75 to 1 and
it wasn't too bad.
Fox at 66 to 1. just like a little bit more. But yeah, so Nick Taylor, 11-2. Just missed out on my main squad, but I can see him coming into the places, sort of Sunday playing himself into the tournament. It was a very much shan't I with Nick Taylor, but I can't see him winning the event, but I can certainly see him finishing that top 10 at 11-2. And then a player that just looked way overpriced now, Johnny Vegas, 9-1 for a top 10 finish here. Hasn't necessarily been in the best of form, but we know he's capable, George. So again, I'm happy to have my main squad with Nick Taylor and Johnny Vegas for top 10 finishes. So if things don't go to plan, at least we're going to cover ourselves with those two.
Good stuff. You got the prices spot on there about those two. And that brings this weekend's preview to a close. Thank you very much to Joe for showing us tips, thoughts, and insight ahead of the weekend. All prices correct at the time of recording with priced-up.bet and the price boosts as well that you can find. If you go to the price boosts page, you can find those without Scheffler odds there about Joe's selections and plenty more boosts over multiple different sports and everything else. Have a look there. And that's where you can find them. Oddschecker have you covered for all the best prices, bookie offers, free bets, and plenty more. So make sure you download the app or check out the site for that. And of course, as I said at the top of the show, 4 tickets to Wentworth available. So make sure you follow those instructions. You've got to subscribe to the Oddschecker YouTube channel. You have to follow Priced Up Bet on Twitter or X. And then you comment on the YouTube video with your Twitter handle. That is the way to do it. We'll be back again next week. Hopefully Wyndham Clark does the business for Joe. If not him, then one of the other lads mentioned. But we'll see you again next week. Enjoy the golf and please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.